Can you tell us your name?
My name is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
What is your goal for your career?
I want to be NBA player.
He sold watches on the streets of Athens just to eat. He was stateless, no country, no passport, no identity. The NBA didn't even know who he was when they drafted him 15th overall, and now, after 13 years of making Milwaukee the center of the basketball universe, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, is gone. Just days ago, it became official. One of the greatest players in NBA history was traded to the Miami Heat in one of the biggest deals this league has ever seen.
Following since just before midnight last night, Giannis Antetokounmpo traded to the Miami Heat, and the man who broke the news.
And here's what everyone is missing in all the breaking news chaos. This wasn't just a trade. This was the end of a story that started in a tiny apartment in Athens, Greece, and it matters more than any contract number or draft pick can explain. Today, we're going through all of it: where he came from, what he built, why it fell apart, and what he's walking into in Miami. Stay with me, because this story is unlike anything the NBA has ever seen. If you're new to this channel, we break down the moments, the players, and the stories that actually define NBA history. Not just the highlight reels, but everything behind them. If that's your kind of content, hit subscribe right now. It really does help. Let's get into it. Giannis Antetokounmpo was born on December 6, 1994, in Athens, Greece. His parents, Charles and Veronica, had emigrated from Nigeria to Greece years earlier, without legal documentation, without work permits, and without any path to Greek citizenship. Because Greece doesn't grant birthright citizenship, Giannis and 3 of his 4 brothers were born stateless on Greek soil. No Greek papers, no Nigerian papers, just kids growing up in a country that didn't officially recognize their existence. The family lived in the working-class Stateless district of Athens. Small apartment, 5 brothers, parents doing whatever work they could find under the table. Charles worked as a handyman. Veronica took in work as a babysitter. And when that wasn't enough, which was often, Giannis and his older brother Thanasis hit the streets. Starting around age 6 or 7, they sold whatever they could: watches, sunglasses, handbags, CDs, DVDs. Giannis has recalled going to school without breakfast, coming home to find nothing to eat, then heading to practice, and not getting his first meal until 11 at night when he got back. He once described the family's daily calculation: if we sell enough tonight, do we pay the rent or do we buy food? There was also real fear. In the early 2000s, anti-immigrant violence in Greece was rising. A far-right criminal organization called Golden Dawn was attacking immigrants in the streets. Giannis has recalled racing home from school with his brothers, terrified of being spotted near their headquarters. At any point, his parents could have been deported. Basketball wasn't even his dream. He wanted to play soccer, like his dad, but when he was 13, a local youth coach named Spiros Veliniadis spotted Giannis on a court in Athens and dangled a simple offer: come try basketball, and you might be able to make some money to buy food. Giannis said yes, and within 2 years, he was on Philathletikos, a second-division Greek club, playing alongside Thanasis, and NBA scouts had started making the trip to Athens to watch a kid with a 7-foot wingspan, the speed of a guard, and skills nobody had any framework for yet. In early 2013, Giannis officially entered the NBA draft. There was just one problem: he still had no papers. He couldn't travel. A kid born and raised in Greece couldn't get a visa to fly to New York for the draft, because Greece didn't officially recognize him as its citizen. The Greek government stepped in with just weeks to spare, issuing Giannis citizenship in May 2013, barely 2 months before the draft. He and his brothers converted their original surname, Antetokounmpo, to the Greek spelling Antetokounmpo. For the first time in 18 years, the family had an official identity. On draft night, June 27, 2013, the Milwaukee Bucks selected Giannis Antetokounmpo with the 15th pick. Most NBA analysts at the time ranked him as a raw, long-term project. A 6'11" teenager who'd played second-division basketball in Greece, spoke limited English, and had never played against top-level competition. One of the most famous pre-draft descriptions from scouts was simple: No idea. His first season stats were modest. He averaged 6.8 points per game on limited minutes. He was 18 years old, living in a country he'd never been to before, learning English on the fly, adjusting to an entirely different kind of basketball. The Bucks were terrible, but Giannis was watching, learning, and working. Every summer, he came back to training camp measurably different, stronger, faster, more skilled. The organization saw it happening. So did the rest of the league. By his third season, he was averaging nearly 17 points per game. By his fourth, he was an all-star. By his fifth, he was leading the Bucks in all 5 major statistical categories: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, becoming the first player in NBA history to finish a season in the top 20 in all 5. That 2016-17 season earned him the Most Improved Player award. But what it really did was announce that Milwaukee had accidentally drafted a generational talent at 15. By 2019, Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best player in the NBA, full stop. He won the MVP award that season, the first Bucks player since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to take home that trophy, averaging 27.7 points, 12.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game, while also being the league's most dominant defensive player. In an emotional MVP acceptance speech, he talked about his father, Charles, who had passed away in 2017 at 54 years old, missing the moment he'd worked so hard to help create. It was one of the most affecting moments in recent NBA award history, and it reminded everyone watching that this wasn't just a basketball story.
Every day that I step on the floor, I always think about my dad, and that motivates me and it pushes me to, play harder and move forward. Even though when my body's sore, even though when I don't feel like playing, I always go and show up and I always go do the right thing. I want to thank my amazing brothers. I love you guys, man.
He won MVP again in 2020, and then in 2021, everything came together. The Milwaukee Bucks entered the 2021 finals as underdogs against the Phoenix Suns, a team with home court advantage, and a league MVP of their own in Chris Paul. Milwaukee won the series in 6 games, and Giannis put on one of the greatest individual finals performances in history: 35.2 points, 13.2 rebounds, 5.0 assists, 1.2 steals, and 1.8 blocks per game. Game 6 was the punctuation mark. Down 16 points in the first half, Milwaukee came back, and Giannis finished with 50 points, the third highest scoring total in finals game history, along with 14 rebounds and 5 blocks. He went to the free throw line 19 times and made all 17 that counted.
It fades away from the rim. It's the presence of Giannis. Antetokounmpo off the glass. 47. Middleton inside. Nice entry pass. And the slam from Antetokounmpo.
Milwaukee celebrated its first NBA championship since 1971. Giannis won Finals MVP, and the kid who once sold sunglasses on the streets of Athens so his family could eat had just become one of the most decorated players in NBA history. He was 26 years old. By the time his exit from Milwaukee was confirmed, Giannis had become the franchise's all-time leader in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He was a 10-time All-Star, 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, and the only player in NBA history to win 5 All-Star selections, 5 All-NBA selections, multiple MVPs, a Finals MVP, and a Defensive Player of the Year before his 27th birthday. The 2021 championship was supposed to be the beginning. Instead, it was the peak. The problem started almost immediately after. The Bucks made a massive bet. They traded for Damian Lillard, one of the most dynamic scorers in NBA history, to pair with Giannis and build another contender. The pairing made sense on paper. In practice, it never clicked. Injuries disrupted both players' availability. The roster around them didn't have the right pieces, and the chemistry was never what anyone hoped for. Then came the moment that changed everything. During the 2025 playoffs, Lillard tore his Achilles tendon. Not a strain, not a sprain, a rupture, the kind of injury that ends seasons and derails futures. For Milwaukee, it was the end of the Lillard experiment, the beginning of real uncertainty about their championship window, and the moment Giannis started having a different conversation with the front office. Milwaukee tried to respond. They waived Lillard. They signed Miles Turner. They brought in a new coach. But the losses kept piling up in 2025 to 26, and Giannis, limited to just 36 games himself due to back-to-back calf injuries, watched from the bench as the franchise he'd built went 32-50.
Not being able to win games, it definitely hurts, but gotta keep doing what you're doing. Keep looking yourself in the mirror and see what you can improve and how you can be better and come right back and compete. That's what competitors do.
The moment that said everything happened on January 13th, 2026. During a home blowout loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, down 31 at halftime in their own arena, Bucks fans started booing, and Giannis, sitting on the floor after drawing a foul, turned to the crowd and booed back, 2 thumbs down, right to their faces. Afterward, when asked about it, he didn't apologize. He said,
I don't think anybody has the right to tell me how I should act on the basketball court after I've been here 13 years, and I'm basically the all-time leader in everything.
Behind the scenes, ESPN reported that Giannis and his agent had been telling the Bucks since May 2025 that he wanted out. Not publicly, Giannis never made a formal trade request, but privately, the message was the same every time. The franchise isn't in position to compete. It's time to part ways. The Bucks held on as long as they could. Then the offers got too good to ignore. On the night of June 23, 2026, the Milwaukee Bucks traded Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat in exchange for Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, Jamie Jaquez Jr., Kasparas Jakusionis, the number 13 pick in the 2026 draft, unprotected first-round picks in 2031 and 2033, a 2030 pick swap, and a 2033 second-round pick. The Boston Celtics had been the other finalist, reportedly offering Jaylen Brown.
From Boston's perspective, yes, Jaylen Brown is a top 10 player in the NBA, but as I said, the Miami deal basically wipes the slate clean. They can rebuild as they see fit.
Miami won because Giannis had a preference. He'd spoken highly of the Heat for years, shared an agent with Miami All-Star center Bam Adebayo, and Pat Riley's vision for pairing the two together was something he believed in. What Miami gets is transformative. Giannis at 31 is still the most physically dominant player in basketball, 6'11", 243 pounds, with a 7'3" wingspan, capable of guarding every position on the floor and attacking the rim with a force no defense has ever fully solved.
Bucks start with 9 on the shot clock. Giannis! Oops!
Paired with Bam Adebayo, who is himself a 3-time all-defensive team player and one of the best defensive centers in the league, the Heat are going to be one of the most physically terrifying teams the East has seen in years. Their combined defensive credentials alone are staggering, 11 all-defensive team selections between them. Giannis was a Defensive Player of the Year winner. Bam has been one of the most versatile defensive big men of this era, and Pat Riley, who built championship teams around LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, and Dwyane Wade, is now adding the Greek Freak to his Hall of Fame roster of acquisitions. For the Eastern Conference, the math just shifted. Miami went from a lottery team, they finished below the play-in line in 2025 to 26, to one of the top title contenders overnight. The Knicks are still the reigning champions, the Celtics are still deep, but suddenly, the Heat are very much in the conversation. And for Giannis himself, this is a second chance, a chance to prove he can win in a new environment, with a new partner, in one of the most storied franchises in the league. The kid who couldn't get a passport at 18 just became the centerpiece of one of the most expensive trades in NBA history. The story isn't ending, it's just moving south. 13 years, 1 championship, 2 MVPs, an all-time leader in every major category his franchise tracks, and now a new chapter in Miami, a city that knows exactly how to turn a superstar into a champion. The Greek Freak's story started with nothing, and right now it's just getting to the next chapter. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep covering stories like this one. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next video.